Jonjo Shelvey is set to leave Nottingham Forest. Thank you, God. Welcome to your Forest transfer news. Good morning, good evening, or good night, wherever in the world you are, whatever time of day you're watching this. Hope you're having a fantastic day, and welcome to your latest Nottingham Forest transfer news. In today's video, we are going to be talking about Lord Voldemort right here, and what the future holds for him. We'll be talking about the striker, the wonder kid from Brazil, more links and rumours developing around him. Dennis leaving, as well as plenty of other stories. There is a lot to get through. So before we do all that, please don't forget to take a quick second, hit that like button. Subscribe to Forest Fan TV if you are new here. And tonight from 8 p.m, we will be doing a live Gore podcast. So make sure you come and join us. We'll be talking about the kit, the sponsor, the Notts County game. Like, seriously, we've got hundreds of topics to discuss at the moment. It's all starting to heat up. Let's jump into this. And let's start with Jonjo. Okay, only one place to start today, and that is with our good friend Jonjo Shelvey. So Jonjo Shelvey, let's just have a very quick recap of the background. Forest bought him in the January window for about 6.6, I think it was, million pounds. And he played a handful of games and was utter crap. To credit him though, he looked okay for about 15-20 minutes against Fulham, I believe it was. But then he was just the assist king. The only problem was those assists were coming to the opponents. The one against Villa, a penalty he gave away against Everton. But that wasn't the end of the story. Not only was he crap on the pitch, but he also had a training ground semi-bust up, if you like, with Cooper, where basically he demanded that he was played. Cooper told him to go home, and that happened. And then following on from that, we broke the story here about what happened at the Old Vol with Shelvey and, let's just say, members of staff there. If you haven't seen that video, make sure you go check it out. We'll link it at the end of the video. And it was clear and obvious that relationships had degraded and that Shelvey wasn't part of the plans. It's gone a step further now. He's been exiled from the Spanish tour. I say tour, it's literally 2 games. So he won't be going with the squad there. And reports today are suggesting that he is on his way out. And that's pretty much what we've been hearing at FFTV all summer as well. So I do believe these reports. Now, the reports are linking him to the likes of Sheffield United. For what the price is, I don't know. I don't care if it's a bag of chips. He needs to go. I never want Forest ever to sign another player from Newcastle United that is over the age of 26. It's just not the retirement home. I remember saying it when we signed them. I warned you guys, we're turning into Newcastle's retirement home here. The comments were mixed when I said that. I'll be interested if you agree with me now or not. On top of that, there is talks that Wood is looking to be moved on as well. And that's 25 million in total that Forest are going to have to basically cap in hand come down and say we screwed up on it. Now, I've been a massive supporter of Forest transfer window, waka 30 signings and all that. I think the majority have been successful or at least have been good enough to be squad players. I think in the January window, it was 50-50 on the nose. You had Jonjo, you had Wood, and you had Ayew, who were all crap. And you had Danilo, you had Felipe, and you had Scarpina, who were all, I think, fantastic signings. So 50-50. And in every transfer window, it doesn't matter if you sign 30, 300, or 3 players. It's always a risk. And this one hasn't paid off. So as much as, you know, we've all memed and bantered the Newcastle players that we've brought in, and should I say have been memed and bantered ourselves by the Newcastle fans, it happens. This is football, you move on. And what I will give Forest credit for is they've realised they've made the mistake and they're looking to move them on. And that for me is the key thing in this. Now, can I see him going to Sheffield United? I can. I can't see a big or bigger club coming in for him. He's still got injury issues. I mean, he's been probably a bit harsh. He came to Forest with injury issues. Outside of that, he's been quite solid in terms of his career. He still does have something to offer the Premier League, I think. Look, he's still a decent midfielder. There was just something that just didn't work when he came to Forest. And that's football. It happens. What is the price going to be for this one? No idea. No idea. Honestly, there's been no talks about specifics. What we do know for sure is that it'll be very unlikely that Forest can recoup their money on him. 6.6 is the rough fee that we paid for him. I think we'll get 3. If we're really lucky, 5. Maybe a Saudi team has a look at him and thinks, yo, he's got those special powers, Harry Potter style. Maybe someone will offer us 30 million for him. You just don't know. You don't know. But I think he'd fit into Sheffield United. They got a complete prick of a manager, and Jonjo and him would get on so well. So I could see that as being a good fit. Now, I guess the question is, do you want to strengthen a team that's coming up when ideally we want them straight back down, especially as it's Sheffield United? Most instances, I would say no. I don't want O'Brien sold Sheffield United. We talked about that link before. Shelvey going in could be like a virus, and it could work nicely. I still think, and this is just me saying what I think here, that Shelvey still thinks he is a top-level Premier League player. And if he was to go to Sheffield United, I think he would see that as beneath him, and therefore may act in that virus-style formation. Probably should have made him up to look like Cyrus the Virus from Con Air rather than Lord Voldemort here. But anyway, that's by and by. I do see him potentially messing up Sheffield United. So Sheffield United fans, well, actually, should we do this just in case the 2 fans they have are watching? He's been fantastic this season. He's been player of the season for us. You'd be lucky to have him. If I were you, I'd start getting on your forums and start pushing for him because he would do you a cracking job. Anyway, point here is he's going. And I don't think Forest will struggle to sell him too much. I think there will be a couple of clubs that are interested or willing to take a risk. It's a case of, is he going to do an Arta? And is he just going to be there and be like, you know what, I'm quite happy here, sitting here taking my 65, 70k a week, and I'm going to join the Harry Arta club. That's my worry in this. And that could potentially happen because he is a bit of a prick as well, the way he comes across. And I think he may do that. But what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments down below. Okay, so on to midfielders and players coming in potentially. Well, I don't actually think this one's coming in, but I know a lot of you are asking about Callum Hudson-Odoi and what's the latest with him. Well, the news is that he's snubbed any move to the Saudi League and his preference is to return back into the Premier League. And we mentioned to you before that Forest are interested and so were Fulham. But now Crystal Palace have entered the race because it seems they may lose Wilfried Zaha and see Hudson-Odoi as the ideal replacement. Now, I still think he has injury issues that concern me. His lack of Premier League football in the last year because he was away at Leverkusen worries me as well. And how he fits into a formation, well, we will debate this tonight on Gore because I think maybe Cooper is looking at the 4-2-3-1. And that really does impress me and really does excite me. But we'll cover all of that off on tonight's stream. So yeah, are Forest still in the running for Hudson-Odoi? Yes. Do I put Forest as favourites? Honestly, I'll probably put us third. I'll put us third. I think Fulham are probably favourites, depending on whether or not they keep Will.i.am. And then I think Palace will push quite heavily for him because they see it as an easy replacement for Zaha. But Forest do have better options. And the option that I still harp on about is Bamba. Now, there's no link to Forest about him, but there are a few crappy clubs sniffing at Bamba. And I think Forest could sweep in and get themselves a bargain on a free with him. But as things stand, I can confirm to you that Hudson-Odoi's preferred destination next year will be in the Premier League. And Forest are still in the running, but I don't have us down as favourites. So the links for Dennis leaving Nottingham Forest are strengthening again today, and Leeds are looking very serious about acquiring his employment. Dennis, who I thought had a poor game yesterday, I'll be honest with you. And as you guys all know, I've backed him to get more game time at Nottingham Forest throughout the whole of the last season. However, it has been clear that he's not in Cooper's plan, and it's come out today that he has been basically given permission to leave if he so decides he wants to. I still don't see it, guys. I said it yesterday. I don't see Leeds being the ideal move for him unless he is convinced by Leeds that they are going to make a promotion push next season. And in 12 months' time, he'll find himself again in the Premier League. Maybe that's what he needs. Maybe he needs a season of free-flowing football where he can score a bag load of goals and then roll that in to the same team and he goes up with Leeds. Now, I don't want that to happen. I quite like Leeds in the Championship. But I think he is going. And in a way, it's quite good. Look, if we can get rid of Shelvey, if we can get rid of Wood, if we can get rid of Dennis, maybe we'll have to sell O'Brien. Obviously, a couple of these players I personally would have kept. But we are starting to maybe generate some income. We've already had 5 million for Sam Surridge. It would be good to see us generate that income. Now, why do I say that? Because I still am convinced that Jonjo may have to go for financial fair play, as we covered off in the FFP video the other week. And if we can generate income elsewhere, maybe by selling 5 or 6 players, then that in itself may cover what Jonjo is. If Jonjo has to go, it will be because stupid deals like this and Wood from last season that cost us 25 million. And that's what worries me. So although I want the likes of Dennis and O'Brien to stay at the club, if it's in to sacrifice Jonjo, then fine. I know which one I'd rather keep. What do you guys think? How do you think this balance will work out? And going on to another story, it looks like Freuler will be on his way as well after his wife tweeted out somewhat, I was about to call it cryptic. It was pretty blatant. Said something along the lines of they need to be patient and then the offers are coming and they're looking, etc. Going to read between those lines. So it looks like Freuler could be going. Now, Freuler, I think, has cost us somewhere between 8 and 12 million last year. Again, Forest would do well to recoup the money on him. However, because he still performs quite well at international level, his profile may still be slightly higher. And I was surprised to see him start the game yesterday. But in a sense, I think Cooper was using some of those players that started the game to shop window them. The likes of Dennis, the likes of Freuler. He probably wants Mighton to go back out on loan again. Those types of players, I can see what Cooper's doing from the friendly. Again, we'll cover it off more in detail tonight on the stream. But these are the players I think that will be moving on. But Forest will have their hands full and have to work hard and quick to try and move it on. I do run parallels to Manchester United in the way that we're doing transfer business currently at the moment. Both Forest and Manchester United are struggling to get rid of their deadwood. And it's not easy to basically say to a club, hi, we got this crap player, would you like to sign him? By the way, we still want to recoup as much money as we can off him. I know we said he's crap, but can you give us what we paid back on him so we can break even? And you've seen it for years with Manchester United. They can get rid of Phil Jones. They can't get rid of Fred. They can't get rid of McTominay. We've had it with the likes of Arta. We've had Lyle Taylor last season, Cafu, who just sat there rotting, unregistered players. And we're adding more to that pile. So sometimes it may be worth taking that cut price, because don't forget the advantage of that is you can move the wages out of the books as well. So there are benefits to it. Even though you're going to take a short-term hit, the long-term game could be beneficial, especially with the likes of Chris Wood being on 90k a week. Shelvey, somewhere around 70k. That's in the millions when you look at it in a salary on a year. So what are your thoughts on all those players? Those are the ones that are potentially going out. So we always like at Forest a Brazilian story, and I got 2 for you now. But before I do, don't forget, grab the live podcast tickets for Forest Fan TV. 6th of August, gates open from 3 p.m. at the Trent Nav. Can't wait to meet you guys and have a laugh and a joke with all of you. So there's a new link. We've got a player called Méndez who's been linked from Sao Paulo. A bit of a box-to-box player, 26 years old. Not really that expensive. I don't know much about him, but as I do always say with these Brazilians, the theme and the trend is that if they get over the age of 21, max 22, then their price starts to depreciate because they're seeing as almost past it. I know it sounds weird, but that's how the system works there. Now, he plays for Sao Paulo, bit of a box-to-box, can play as a holding 6, but can also do the 8 position as well. I don't really want another box-to-box player in the team. I would prefer that we got an out-and-out CDM. The likes of Tyler Adams or the likes of Sangera, for me, are my 2 number 1 choices. Does that even make logical sense? Maybe. The latest on Sangera is there is no latest on Sangera. Talks are still ongoing. We told you representatives met with the Greek father in Greece last week. There's been no real significant movement on that. However, the one I am interested is the one we spoke to you about last time. And let me try and pronounce his name. He's no John Smith. It's Nascimento. The the 5-star skiller, as I would call him. He's been strongly linked again to Nottingham Forest, and the rumours have grown. And just to whet your appetites, this is a player that Real Madrid were really interested in last summer, but it never developed much further than that. And honestly, from what I've seen of him, I love him. I think he's quality. He brings in the wingers. He's a great player. The jump to the European leagues may be a tough one for him, but I think he can do it. He's got that little swagger about him that I like. But where would he play and where would he fit into the system? That would be the headache for me. I see him as a project player, almost one of the Brighton boys kind of thing, where you bring him in, you bed him in, you keep him for a year or two, you buy him for 8 million, as it's rumoured that Forest are going in for him on, and then you look to sell him on for 30, 40, 50 million, whatever it is. So he may be one of those project players, but I love the fact that we're being linked to Brazilians. It's just a nice flavour. Brazil and Nottingham just goes so well together. It's Nottingham Rainforest, isn't it? Okay, so that brings you right up to date with your latest Nottingham Forest transfer news. Don't forget, we'll be kicking off the live stream tonight from 8 p.m. on the main FFTV channel. If you haven't already, please don't forget to like the video, subscribe to Forest Fan TV, grab those last few tickets that are going for the live podcast, and we'll see you tonight at 8 p.m. There's a lot more to talk about. Come on, you Reds.